Hi! This time I wanted to talk about bardic complications in tabletop role-playing games. Funny enough, I think I am not very experienced when it comes to the bard in tabletop RPGs. That is, I've had like 3 players in my entire RPG career that decided to play as bards. And in none of those cases I have seen like a serious bard. Let me tell you what I mean. I mean that they are always so comedic in their approach. I have yet to see a bard that looks like a serious character or that is taken seriously by the group even. I think it's the very nature. And perhaps some errors of interpretation. For example, in my case, if I were to roleplay as a bard, I would probably go for a battle bard sort of style or a skald. And when it comes to inspiring competence on others using my music, I would probably be like a power metal sort of guy, regardless of the context, be it fantasy, medieval fantasy, or sci-fi or science fantasy. I would probably be like a power metal guy, like you will destroy your enemies, to inspire competence. But in all of the cases that I have seen, and other cases in other sessions, not only in mine, in other sessions, they always end up being a bit goofy. I had this bard, probably the best bard that I have had in my games. She had a harp, but she was always like, I play beautiful melodies. I play beautiful melodies so that you are skilled at climbing. And she would like bling 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 bling. And then battle starts and I inspire you all to incredible battle prowess with my beautiful melodies. And she started to play really rapidly, but it was always so a bit goofy, a bit funny. And the worst part was when it was like a stealth or sneaking about situation. And she was like, I'm going to play because she always said that, I will play my beautiful melodies to inspire you as you are sneaking about. And the other guy was, but how are you going to inspire me? This is a stealth operation. How can you inspire me to greatness? Oh, wise bard or whatever. And she was like, pay close attention to me. Supposedly she was kind of like inspiring him to move silently by doing this. So yes, it's a bit funny. I wonder how can you actually inspire someone in any skill check or test or whatever. Well, for starters, many D20 based systems, pseudo-clones, retro-clones, they handle the bardic performance and the bardic character class very differently. Some bards are more based on illusion or subtle means of boosting and hexing and such, but other bards are a bit more direct. They can cast some powerful spells. And I think that when it comes to bardic spells, they are pretty easy to represent. You have a lot of freedom when it comes to creativity. You can say something like the notes of your music or your song suddenly transform into projectiles or something, or if you're creating or summoning something, the notes themselves, they take shape in the material realm or something like that. But yes, in those cases, like inspiring competence or proficiency in a stealth or sneaking about, maybe they can do like an ASMR performance, right? Like, hello, this is your friendly bard. You are very good at sneaking. So yes, there are some very silly moments. You really have to, in my opinion, you really have to plan out how you are going to be role-playing that bard, because otherwise there are just going to be too many funny moments in a single session. What was another funny moment? Last resort weapon, when the bard ends up losing his or her sword or dagger or whatever, sometimes they resort to using their instruments, and that's also a bit funny. Do you remember that character? In Spanish, that's from Hanna-Barbera. In Spanish, we call him the Cabazorro. You probably call it in English like that. The horse character that appeared with Yogi Bear and all of that. It turns into that situation when you are usually as a bard, maybe the character ends up using the guitar as a weapon. So it's very difficult to play a serious bard, in my opinion. Or maybe, maybe I've been unlucky in witnessing such a character archetype. Let me know in the comment section if you have seen some serious bards, or if every situation with the bard there is always this like funny archetype unintentionally being portrayed because of the very nature of the class or archetype. Because this doesn't need to be tied to character classes. It could be like a point buy system, and you decide to create this character that inspires others with music, or cast spells with music and such. So yes, overall, I think the bard is one of like the pitfalls or traps that you can easily fall into if you want to avoid the funny stereotype. But like I said, if you want like a more serious bard, maybe you want to be like a heavy metal bard or something, there's actually a really cool supplement for Pathfinder 1st edition. I don't remember the name, but you are basically a heavy metal bard, and it is the coolest bard that I have ever seen, because you're using a lot of like heavy metal instruments, devices, tropes. I remember you can even damage with those crazy heavy metal screams. Ah, you can damage your opponents. I always felt like the need to, always wanted to play that bard, maybe sometime in the future, or I will try to convince one of my players to play as such a character. The cover, I remember, it's a pretty awesome cover. The bard is armed with this like a double battle axe, but it's also a guitar, like a guitar axe. It looks really cool. Probably not very functional or very on the science fantasy side of things, not very practical in realistic terms, but it still looks amazing. So yes, those are my thoughts on the bard. Let me know your own thoughts and experiences. As always, thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.